Welcome to this training on how to either deal with being on birth control as a woman with PCOS or deal with coming off of birth control, because these are both big things that we need to address. They can cause all sorts of hormonal imbalances. They can affect your detoxification pathways, and they can affect your gut microbiome, which are all three essential things that need to be working correctly in order for you to manage your PCOS and, of course, lose weight correctly. Now, the thing with birth control is that it is prescribed a lot to women with PCOS because one of the big symptoms of women with PCOS is irregular or missing periods. And so the reason that we're prescribed birth control is that it helps regulate your periods. But what it actually ends up doing is it can cause a lot more issues for some women than it does actual help, or you may not experience these issues while you're on the pill. You may experience them after you come off the birth control itself. Now, what is birth control actually doing to your body? It keeps you from ovulating and it thickens your cervical mucus so that if any sperm gets in there, it will not fertilize the egg. But what it also can do is cause some really not fun symptoms. So it can cause things like mood swings, anxiety, weight gain, acne. It can make your periods really light when you're on it, or it can make them really heavy and painful. It can make PMS really bad. And then when you come off of birth control, you can also experience issues like infertility, really late missing or irregular periods, or some women even develop PCOS after coming off the pill. So these are things to keep in mind as we are talking about birth control. And if you're deciding with your doctor what course you would like to take. So there are three big areas that you want to focus on when you are thinking about either managing your body with birth control or if you're going to come off of birth control. And these are three topics that I talk about a lot with my clients inside of my program, the Empowered Woman's Weight Loss Method, whether they're coming off of birth control, but these are also great tips to help you balance your hormones in general. However, they are the most important when it comes to addressing birth control. All right, so the three big topics are food, stress, and environmental toxins. So first, let's talk about food. You really want to be eating foods that are going to promote gut balance and aid in your liver process, because your liver is what helps you detox. It helps get out any extra hormones, because what birth control is doing is it's putting these hormones or even these fake hormones into your body. And so your body can get confused and not know what's going on. It can cause hormonal imbalances. Or if you're stopping taking birth control, your body is confused because it's no longer getting those fake hormones. So you really want to aid those detoxification pathways like with your liver, and you really want to make sure you're aiding your gut health as well, because that will help combat any kind of inflammation and what will help regulate your hormone balance as well. So really good foods for that are going to be beets, cruciferous veggies like broccoli and cauliflower, making sure you're getting complete protein, garlic, grapefruit, green tea, leafy greens, good sources of fiber like beans, and then bone broth and probiotics, especially for your gut, really nourishing your gut health, and omega-3s, so things like wild caught salmon. And of course, you want to eliminate inflammatory foods as well, or try to avoid them as much as possible. And so these are things like sugar, dairy, gluten, processed soy, any kind of processed food, canola or vegetable oil, and alcohol, because those are not so nice to your liver or to your gut and can cause even more hormonal disruptions and those not fun symptoms like PMS and weight gain, which we are trying to avoid. The other thing with food that kind of gets into our next topic, which is stress, is making sure you're eating in a relaxed environment. So, making sure you're not eating while you're on the go. You don't want to eat in your car while you're shoveling the food down. You really want to try to sit down in a relaxed environment and be present with your food, because when you're present with your food and you're really taking the time to chew your food and think about what you're doing, not only are you reducing the stress that you are experiencing as you're eating it, but that also helps with the digestion process as well. So you're getting more nutrients out of your food. All right, so let's talk about stress now. So, one thing that birth control can do is it can mess with your progesterone levels. Now, progesterone is a hormone that plays with both cortisol and estrogen. So progesterone helps with cortisol because cortisol is the stress hormone, and progesterone is an anti-anxiety hormone. So it can help kind of balance out that stress feelings. And then it plays with estrogen as well. So what happens is if there is not enough progesterone, then we can experience what's called relative estrogen dominance. So this is when you experience things like really bad PMS, bloating, tender breasts, headaches, weight gain, really big hips, thighs, and butt, all of those kind of things. So it's really important that you manage your stress levels so that progesterone can do its thing. You aren't experiencing estrogen dominance, and you aren't experiencing this high levels of stress or chronic stress. Because the other really important thing that is you need to know as a woman with PCOS is that stress is very important for you to manage because it affects insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is one of the most common symptoms associated with PCOS. So if you have high cortisol levels, then that can raise your insulin resistance, and insulin resistance can also raise cortisol levels. So stress and insulin resistance go hand in hand, and both of those things can make you gain weight. So, three of the things that I really like to tell my clients to try to help manage their stress is meditate. Any kind of meditation that resonates with you, whether that's just sitting in silence for 5 minutes and focusing on your breath, whether that's doing a guided meditation, whatever makes you feel less stressed is what we want to go for. Another one is going on a nature walk, and not just walking in nature, but really being in nature. So not having your headphones in, not, running through your to-do list while you're walking, but really paying attention to what am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I smelling? Looking at all of that wildlife and really just being present in nature can really help lower those cortisol levels. And then finally, my most favorite stress reducing tip, but probably the hardest one for women, is setting boundaries. And it is really hard for us as women to set boundaries because we feel like we need to take care of everyone. We feel like we need to put everyone's needs in front of ours. So it can be really hard to say no to things or to carve out some time for yourself. But it's really important you do that. So you're not only managing your stress levels, but you are making sure that you are 100%. Because if you aren't carving out time for yourself, if you aren't creating these boundaries, then you can't be there for anyone else 100% because you aren't showing up for yourself 100%. And then our number 3 thing that we need to focus on when it comes to managing birth control or coming off of birth control is environmental toxins. And I love talking about this one with my clients because it's something that people usually completely ignore when we're talking about weight loss or hormonal health, but it is absolutely crucial, especially for hormonal health, especially for women with PCOS, especially for women who are on birth control or who are wanting to come off of birth control, is to reduce your exposure to environmental toxins. Now, when I say environmental toxins, I am talking about these endocrine disrupting chemicals that are in our everyday products and things that we put on us and around us. So things like personal care products, so soaps, makeup, lotion, shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, deodorant, all of that. And things like household cleaners, so bleach, kitchen cleaner, bathroom cleaner, laundry detergent, you name it, the works. Now, I don't say this to scare you, and I don't say this to say, you have to throw away all of your makeup and throw away all of your cleaners, because that's just not rational. But what we want to do is find cleaner alternatives that don't have these endocrine disrupting chemicals, because what these chemicals do is they can come in and they can either cause inflammation or they can even mimic estrogen sometimes. These are called xenoestrogens. So what it does is just cause even more hormonal imbalances. So you're experiencing even more of things like the acne, the bloating, the PMS, the weight gain that we don't want to experience. So it's really important to pay attention to where these environmental toxins are hiding as well. And the best way to find that out is to use the EWG app, the Environmental Working Group app. So you can just browse through there. You can look up products in there. You can see they even have a section for how much it disrupts your endocrine system. You can even scan products and it will tell you about the product that you have scanned. I love it. It's what I tell my clients to use. It's what I use when I'm buying any kind of personal care product or a household cleaner. Absolutely love it. So just a review, we talked about the top 3 things that you need to focus on, whether you are managing your PCOS with birth control or you're coming off of birth control, and that is food, stress, and toxins. And if you want to learn more about these topics, if you want me to help you take control of your PCOS and lose the weight for good, manage your PCOS symptoms, then I encourage you to book a call with me so we can talk about how I can best help and serve you, and if you would be a good fit to work in my program, the Empowered Woman's Weight Loss Method. All right, I will talk to you later.